So I know most of you know what the Winter Short Track Series is, but for those of you that do not, it is basically an extremely short mountain bike race. It is 5 weekends straight in a row, so it's a lot of high intensity efforts right at the beginning of your training block, usually before the season starts. My particular race is only 40 minutes long. This is a brand new venue though. I was curious to see how this venue kind of turned out for Winter Short Track Series. If you haven't watched my previous videos, by all means, go back and watch them. I have 2 previous videos leading up to this one that kind of tell the story of the bike that I'm using, why I wanted to do this little experiment. But for all intents and purposes, I'm on a 22-year-old bicycle that I built up specifically for this. It is a 26-inch, and I made the thing fit. It was a lot of fun building the bike, but I wanted to see how a bike that age would do in a race now. I chose a 36-16 gear ratio for this race. That is pretty tall. I think I had maybe the tallest out of everyone there, and it definitely came back to bite me in the butt. But it was good. So let's just start this thing. I know I'm rambling. Let's see what happens here. This was definitely one of the harder, I would say, starts, especially for a single speed race, mainly because it was such a long drag till you hit the woods.
It's gonna be interesting to see what you guys' gears are gonna be running for this course.
We got plenty of room.
10 seconds, 10 seconds.
We drank all your beers, so that's it. Sorry. Come on, Sean! That's it.
Guys, ready? Go!
Go, go, go!
Hold on, I have the pause it right here, but I did not take into consideration how comical it would be to see my legs moving at freaking Mock Turkey. Like, that's about as high as my cadence could get because I was trying to get the whole shot. I mean, I had to be bouncing everywhere. So Sean came around me. There's a little drop off right here. That's why the cones are up. They want you to scrub speed so you don't just launch it. I knew, because I asked him what his gear range was, that I had a taller gear. So that's why I just went ahead, came back around him. Like I said, I wanted to be first in the woods. And surprisingly enough, I could hold an okay pace. This was not, I wouldn't say this was a great pace in the woods, but it was an okay pace. It was good enough. So right there, you have to keep a lot of speed. You got to flow through the corner and you have to punch right here because this kicks up quite a bit. And when you're on a single speed, you want to use as much momentum as you can to carry yourself over the top. And as you can tell, I am starting to learn here that my gear is a little bit too tall. Pop out onto a little gravel stretch here, and it's basically you put your head down right as hard as you can, and then it kicks up. I wasn't sure what he was doing since the race was happening and he was riding backwards on the course. And then once you get up and over that little kicker, this is where it really hurts. So I took a quick glance behind me to see if anybody was there, and I had a few bike links, to my surprise. Like, I thought they would be right on my wheel and come flying around me. So I was like, all right, I got a 36-16. I'm gonna just monster truck it right up this hill, and I'm just gonna leave everybody. Right there when I looked up again, I was like, okay, that's not gonna happen. I have way too big of a gear to even think about doing that. I will hope that I don't walk during this race. Chris is his name. I met him after the race, super nice guy. He came around me, and obviously it looked like he just shifted down a gear, just sat down, pedaled, clicked right up it. And you can just barely see, I think it was Sean was in third place at this point. So I'm second. I have lost a lot of freaking time getting up and over that hill. I'm breathing really hard. My heart rate's probably at 180 at this point. I was not feeling very good about myself and my performance. Put your head down, you know, don't think too much on it. You'll wig yourself out. So that was lap 1.
One back.
Again, here's this little kicker. These are people that were in the category that started just before my category.
One back. Got one on you. Thanks, Mike.
I try to be as courteous as possible, but if I sounded like an a-hole trying to pass, just don't take it personally, because I was dying, and that's my dying voice.
Good job, buddy. Let him try.
Dude, you guys have no idea. Every time I looked at my heart rate coming on this, which I was only using my watch, not a heart rate monitor, which is more accurate. Every lap when I hit this climb, my heart rate would reach about 180 beats a minute, which isn't bad. I mean, my max heart rate is somewhere about 200. I was hurting, but I wasn't blowing up yet.
Good job, buddy.
And so once this lap ends, I will essentially be halfway through the race. The way short track works, yes, it is a 40-minute race, but it is not strictly timed. They kind of figure out exactly how quick you are completing laps, and about halfway through they'll switch over 2 laps and just start counting you down. We ended up doing 6 laps, so at the end of this, it'll be halfway.
I'm after it. Me. Good job, buddy.
So really at this point I switched over to literally just doing damage control. Like any chance I could rest, I was trying to rest, trying to get my breathing under control, trying to get my heart rate down, because I knew my heart rate would be peaking here soon on one of the hills. Like I would say there's probably 3 to 4 really good spots on here where it's literally like me trying to do close to my max squat. That was every single lap. It sounds like I'm dying a slow death, and it gets worse every single time. I felt good that the guy on the geared bike, I kind of stayed like same gappage through the woods. Started to close it down a little bit at this point. I was happy with that, yeah. But he definitely wasn't dying like I was. So right here, I look over my shoulder and I see Sean is actually getting caught. That's no bueno, because that means Sean and this other guy, I think his name was Ryan based off of the results, they were gonna have to race each other, and I, out in La La Land. So we have first place, we have me, and then we have third and fourth. They are going to go faster because A, they can work together if they want, but more importantly, I'm just trying to hold my own pace. They're gonna have to battle each other and sprint it out and try to drop each other, so they're obviously gonna go faster. This was a game of attrition at this point because I couldn't go any faster than I actually was already going. I was dead in the water. So I was just trying to muster up enough power and strength to hold the pace that I was currently on so I could stay in second place. So the final lap, coming into the final climb on the hill, I just knew I was gonna get caught. They were racing each other, I was slowing down, I just knew I was gonna get caught. So I put my head down and I tried to just stay on top of the pedals. You know, don't ever labor too much, don't get behind the pedals. And when I rounded the corner, they had closed the gap down quite a bit. I think at one point I at least had a 30-second gap on the two of them. When I rounded that corner, I realized I no longer had that gap. It was coming down quite fast. They were essentially one turn away from me. So once I got to the top, I put my head down and I gave it everything I could muster. Luckily, I held out. Sean got third, and I only beat him by about 10 seconds. So he pulled and clawed back a lot of time on me. So race number 1 is over and I pulled a second place out of the bag. I'm satisfied with that. I think I accomplished my goal of just not being terrible on the Homegrown. How do I think it actually rode, right? So that was the big reason for doing this, to see if a 26-inch could compete in today's time. Honestly, if I was to put gears on this bike and tried to race in like the expert category, I would maybe not be last. It is definitely slower to be on this 26-inch. The biggest thing I could notice, I lost momentum a lot quicker on this bike than I did on my 29er. That was very apparent because I had a taller gear, but coming down some of those hills, like Sean was able to catch me at the start, even though I had a bigger gear and he wasn't even pedaling. That was the biggest thing I could tell. Now, I'm not gonna knock the bike on how it handles too much because I do have a super long stem. The bike's a medium. I should be riding a large, but beggars can't be choosers. I do need to put an easier gear on it. A 36-16 was definitely too tall. I think I only really got by because of my sheer suffer ability, whatever you want to call it, because I think if I would have had to have done maybe 2 more laps, I would be checking the mailboxes. I would be going up that final climb like this the whole way just to try to get up to the top. Whereas I think that single climb is where you can gain or lose the most amount of time. But thank you so much for allowing me to show you my races. I love doing these videos. It's definitely one of my favorite style of videos to do and cover, and I love racing my bike. So thank you. Love you all. Come support the Winter Short Track Series. It's a great event, super fun, and it is a super friendly beginner race if you're new to the sport. I will see everyone soon, and I hope you all have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.